Alright! Snakes on a Plane! The archetype has actually arrived, and I'm actually super excited for this because this is the first time that Snake's Reign is going to have an actual application for this. So make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss out on more awesome content. And yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to see what the little sneaky boys are actually going to be doing. So the first snake here is Null, Drag of the Abyss. I love the H on Abbyss there, by the way. But, alright, so it's level 4 Reptile. It's not a tuner, by the way, so you're not going to get any backdoor synergy there. You can only use this card's first and second effects of this card's name once per turn each. So you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, send a dark reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard. Now remember, this is the light one. I think they have 4 darks in the whole archetype. So this will bury a dark. And, second effect, if you control no monsters, or you control an Abhyss monster, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then you can not special summon monsters while this card was special summoned by its effect is in a monster zone, except for reptiles. You can just overlay this and make King of the Feral Imps, and then continue on with your day. Like, you're not going to have any issues with that whatsoever. So, at least we have King of the Feral Imps support, right? Next up is Nihil, Drag of the Abyss. So, 0-2000, by the way. So you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to send 1 light reptile monster from your deck to the graveyard. So, same thing here, you're going to be able to do your thing. Also, Kage Tokage is a reptile monster. Alright, if this card is an almost special summon, you can add an Abhyss spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. I just understood that Abhyss is a pun for what snakes would say. Abhyss. Okay, well, that's interesting. So we have another secondary searcher, which is alright. So we also got Philology Haze of the Abyss. So 1800, 1400. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, or special summoned from the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and 1 monster in the graveyard with an equal or higher attack. Special summon that target in the opponent's graveyard to their field, and if you do, send the target they control to the graveyard. What in the world is this? If this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to add this card to your hand. So this is a... You get the ability to kill something, but you have to revive something that's stronger. And if it's in the graveyard, you can at least discard to revive this. So this isn't even that good in the grand scheme of things. But I guess recurability is important in this deck? Question mark? Zoha, Haze of the Abyss, 15-1700. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, from the field to the graveyard, or special summon from the graveyard, you can have your opponent draw a card. And if you do, you can add an Abhyss monster from your deck to your hand, except for Haze. Then each player sends 1 card from their hand to the graveyard. When do I ever want my opponent to draw a card? I understand it's a discard 1, it's kind of similar to Mothman, but that's kind of bad. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard a card to add it back. At least these guys are recurable. So that's not too busted. I mean, so far the biggest advantage you're going to get with something like Snake's Reign in this deck is you at least get to drop all these resources into the graveyard so you can start discarding to start adding these back. So I guess that's fine. Next up, we got Curse, Dawn of the Abyss. This is a level 8, by the way. 400 attack, 2400 defense. If this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute 1 monster, special summon this card, and then your opponent can special summon 1 monster from their graveyard to their field, but their effects are negated. Why are these cards so fair? If this card is special summoned, you can target 1 level 4 or lower Abhyss monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. So this revives, which isn't bad. And this card just feels bad, man. Like, I don't know about this. I don't want to interact with this card. This card seems bad. Alright. Next up, we got this really weird looking thing. Aleph, Dusk of the Abyss. 2,800. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute one monster, special summon this card, and then your opponent adds one monster from their graveyard to their hand. I don't want my opponent to get all this advantage. If this card is special summoned, you target two of your banished monsters, including at least a reptile monster, and return them to the graveyard. Nothing has banished so far. Why do we have this clause? Alright? That feels so bad. Alright? Another bad card. Alright, these cards are bad. Aran, King of the Abyss. So this is another level 8. These level 8s are bad. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute two monsters to special summon this card. But why though? If your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to their hand except during the draw phase, you can send one of them from the hand to the graveyard. Dark Law. Hey, we got a Dark Law. We got a Dark Law. This is good. Opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand except by drawing it. You can send a random card from their deck to the hand. Hey, we got a Dark Law. That's pretty good. If a monster your opponent controls is sent to the graveyard by a card effect... Whoa. If a monster your opponent controls is sent to the graveyard... Okay, by a card effect. You can add a light or dark reptile monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So we have a Dark Law that if we pop something via card effect, also lets me add. Okay. Okay. Acceptable. I will take this. This is pretty good. Next up, we got Manusia, Queen of the Abyss. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute two monsters to special summon this card. Alright. If a monster or monsters is special summoned from your opponent's graveyard, you can send one card they control to the graveyard. Well, that's pretty cool. Alright, so we have more beautiful disruption. If a monster or monsters is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the graveyard, you can special summon one light or dark reptile monster from your graveyard, except for Amnesia. Huh. This stuff is... These last two have been pretty decent overall. Alright, now we got the big, bad, awesome boss monster. Go blah 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 blah, go blah blah, Deity of the Abyss. Level 10, 3,100. If this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 3 monsters to special summon this card. Whew. That's a lot. Once, while face up on the field, quick effect, you can send all monsters on the field to the graveyard except face up monsters that were special summoned from the graveyard. Once. By the way. Just once. Nothing else. Just once. Alright. So, you get 1 board wipe. Zeus can do it twice, but your snake archetype gets to do it once. Alright. Next up is our field spell. Deity of the Abyss. You can only use this card's name's first, second effects once per turn each. So if a face-up reptile, monster, or monsters you control is destroyed by a battle or an opponent's card effect, you target one card your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. Alright. If this card in your field zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can send cards from the top of your opponent's deck to the graveyard equal to the number of reptile monsters with different names. No thank you. No, I don't think I will mill your deck. Hey guys, look, it's a field spell that doesn't search. You know how bad that's going to be. Alright. Next up, looks like we got some traps here. Emptiness of the Abyss. This card actually looks really cool, actually. So, during the main phase, you contribute 1 reptile monster and target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon it to your field, but send it to the graveyard during the end phase. So this is either player's turn. Alright, this is pretty good. I like this. If this face-up card in the spell and trap card zone is sent to the graveyard, send face-up non-reptile monsters you control to the graveyard. So, it just re-board wipes us. Okay, I see you. Alright, and then we got Invasion of the Abyss. Special summon 2 Abyss tokens. If you have 8 or more Abyss monsters with different names in your graveyard, you can apply this effect twice. Okay, so this is where our Snake Rain synergy comes in. Alright, and then we also get the... Oh, you can apply this effect instead. Special summon 2 reptile monsters with different names from your graveyard. So, we get to make 2 tokens, or if we have 8 or more Abyss monsters with different names. That's like the whole archetype, by the way, and that's pretty bad. Overall, I'm gonna be honest with you guys here. I like the boss monster. I think Mr. Boss Monster here is really cute, but the rest of this archetype seems like butt. Actually, I was so excited for Snake's Reign the deck, but like this just feels so underwhelming. So, what do you guys think about this archetype? Please leave a comment down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed, and we'll be back with Market Watch in the morning, I believe. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCool40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCool40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcoolgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.